Hi everyone, it's Cuccia from Tarot Map. Welcome to my channel. Today I would like to speak to you about Mars-Pluto opposition. I want to show you some tarot cards that are related to these two planets and also talk about my own experience because in my life I have experienced Pluto-Mars opposition in my own chart, and I was, big enough to consciously go through it, so I can share, some of the experiences that I personally had during this transit that we now collectively are all experiencing. So grab a cuppa and share, some time with me. So Pluto and Mars. Pluto is a generational planet. It's, really far away from the sun. In tropical astrology, we very often look at Pluto as a planet that brings big metamorphosis, transformation, and it's energy that has a lot of intense power to use. So whenever we go through any of the Plutonian transits, taking into consideration that Pluto as a planet was discovered by humanity when atomic bomb was also in the ethers, plutonium is the element that is participating in the big explosions in atomic bombs. So it comes with a huge responsibility, and it comes with issues of control. It comes with issues of power and how we use or abuse power. At the same time, Pluto, if you ever see any images of it, it's also connected to underworld. It is a god that resides in the underworld. It has to do with death, it has to do with passing, it has to do with residing and ruling over everything that's dark and that's under the surface. So often, the pomegranates, Persephone and Pluto stories, mythology connected to death and dying, are all related to the themes that Pluto, as the lord of the underworld, brings with itself to the table. So keep this in mind, right? And then we have Mars. Mars, that is a god of war, right? God of desire. It's a very active principle. It is connected to action, to following that desire. It's connected to anger, to sexuality, to this potency and intensity that energy can bring with itself. So when you have these two planets in opposition to one another, opposition is 180 degrees apart, so they kind of staring at one another, and they conversing right now collectively for everyone. In tropical astrology, we have Mars going back into the sign of Cancer, and it's quite unusual because Mars will be retrograding for quite a long time. I think it only will go back to direct motion and back into Leo by March, beginning of April next year. I have to check the exact date, but it's quite a long time for Mars to be hanging around at, between the Cancer and tropical sign of Cancer and tropical sign of Leo. In Julie Cuccia Watt's deck, Really Sky Astrology, Mars opposition, she kind of attached to the Seven of Coins. So when we have Mars, that's really, I just want to go, I want to get, I want to conquer, opposing Pluto, that's much slower. So a fast-moving planet, opposition the slow-moving planet, and both really powerful. We have a lot of energy to disposal. In my personal life, I can share this story. First of all, I felt like I went through a sexual revolution. So whenever I see, Pluto and Mars in younger people charts, this can bring some exploration of your sexuality, exploration of desires. You might go and do things that you haven't done before. I remember when I had this planets in opposition, I really wanted to like wear red lipstick, heels, like dress kind of sexy. I was definitely exploring a lot of my sexuality, but not in the sense only of like having sex with people. That was part of it too, but more also about rediscovering where the deep seat of power is when I dress like this, when I expose or like, you know, explore my sexual and creative force. This comes with, you know, control. Pluto's keywords often is metamorphosis and transformation. Often it also is about control, because it is a lot of power. So how do you use this power? You also can be exposed to other individuals that exercise their power towards you. So it's really important for you to know also where you end, where others begin. Here in this deck, what is this? What's in your stars? It's astrology deck. It says sometimes control can help you to master a subject. Often it can be a misuse of power or overly self-protective. So also with Mars, you know, we can go on defense. We can start attacking when we feel like we're losing control. Collectively, we can really experience a lot of power plays, a lot of ego shouts, you know. So when I studied astrology, my teachers always repeated this, the true use of power with Pluto is power through softness. You know, when you're truly powerful, you can be vulnerable, you can show your weaknesses, because usually when you're really protective and you're so afraid that somebody can see that you, I don't know, this, that, or that shows the weakness. And when you're not vulnerable enough to share it about yourself, it also shows that, you know, there is this power where somewhere it's leaking, it's lacking. So when we have now power opposition Pluto, we might, and it's, you know, Pluto is on the critical degrees, 29 degrees of Capricorn in tropical astrology. I was mentioning the Sabian symbol of this degree. It speaks about powerful men making executive decisions about the state of the world. So there is big undercurrents in this powerful situation. So don't let yourself be played either by these big events like politics, and just be mindful. Don't get yourself be manipulated into anger, into division, into control. It's so much easier to control people who are divided, and all that our systems seem to be doing is to divide us, to make us, you know, see the other 50% as the wrong ones. There is this split in consciousness where, you know, both sides of the story will think that they are right about everything. So Pluto Mars, of course, it's a quite combustible opposition. There's, as I said, a lot of power to deal with. But in my own life, I truly experienced it more as like awakening, broadening up my perception about myself, testing myself, trying things out. You may do it consciously for yourself in your life, or things, because it's an opposition, might be brought to you. So you may be forced to do things the way, you know, or step into your power, or like feel a bit more assertive, or act in certain ways more empowered. Any Pluto transit and Mars transit, in the end, and the very core of it, they have to do with empowerment and with having good boundaries and having a healthy sense of ego. And this is a very thin line between healthy sense of ego or, like, you know, going on ego debates. So in Julie Cuccia Watts, this Mars opposition, it's 7 of coins. And I think with 7 of coins, like, it takes time to learn how to feel empowered, how to be powerful in a true sense of the world. What's lovely about this aspect right now, Pluto is in opposition to Mars, but we also have Neptune involved. Neptune is the planet of intuition, of healing or release, of forgiveness, of compassionate action. And Neptune is aspecting both of them. Neptune is in Pisces, so it's aspecting by sextile Pluto, and it's actually trining Mars because they both, water signs. So there is a supportive but also maybe a touch confusing or idealizing a vibe of Neptune here, but it is supportive, and it wants us to use this energy of Mars versus Pluto to bring healing, to bring stuff to the surface. Maybe because it's so intense, a lot of us can feel tired. We can feel like we involved in many arguments, many divisional conversations. So we have to take responsibility for how we personally deal with this powerful energy in our lives. This is all we can do, and it's really good with Mars being involved to keep moving your body. Pluto is also transformation, but it's more to do with our psyches and like deep unconscious stuff. Mars loves to exert and act, and so any type of exercise, movement will help you to move this energy and bring it up to the surface so you can deal with it and take responsibility for it on the surface. And I remember this Pluto opposition Mars to be quite intense, but in the end, it's always for the most positive. So when you think of tarot, Mars is the tower and Pluto is death. So the tower always, it's awakener. Whatever we think about our lives, about ourselves, about what we've built, what we've created, it's crumbling now. It's too tight. We need to open up. The crown needs to fall down. So there's like a crown chakra awakening. And then we need to be strong enough, like with Mars, to allow our body to deal with it. And then Pluto is the death card, right? So we can sense that there is a big ending, big initiation, and astrological cycle and the tarot point the way. If you find yourself that things are changing, that you're being thrown into this washing machine type of thing, go with the flow. Don't stop the changes. Don't be afraid. It might seem scary, but do it anyway. Just go with the changes right now. This is a good time. And, if it's Seven of Coins with Mars opposition, try to act as grounded and patiently as possible. But the energy is not encouraging this. It's very... All right, guys. So take care. Look at whom you hang out with, and share with me how do you experience this time right now, and also maybe if you had Mars opposition Pluto, what was happening in your own life back then. Thanks for sharing, and thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting under this video. Much love. Bye.